This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Next up, Stephanie McMahon's out with Paul Heyman, and she's agreed to renegotiate Brock Lesnar's contract if he takes Roman Reigns out. And if they're willing to do that, why would they willingly put Reigns in the main event on the next show? That's Meltzer's commentary, but a little hole in the logic, I guess. Let's talk about the next match, though. It's for the Divas title. This is right before we're dropping the Divas belt. Of course, that year in Dallas, they would debut the new women's title, and that was probably an overdue change, don't you think, Arn? I mean, now that it's the women's revolution, let's drop the Divas stuff. Let's just call it the women's title.
You want to put them on the same plane, deservedly so, as the men? Spice everything up to where it matches the men's title. They're the same opportunities that the men get. And the fact is, it's not a Divas title anymore. It's a women's championship.
Next up, we get Charlotte and Becky Lynch. They go 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Charlotte wins and retains the title. Meltzer was high on it. He says this was probably the best Divas match on a pay-per-view in recent memory. And if not, definitely was the one with the best crowd reaction. It was the first time where it appeared that they attempt to make the women more serious with the working. A ton of credit has to go with Lynch, who people really want to see as a face win the title. Charlotte is also far better off right now as a heel, even though nobody wants to boo Ric Flair. So he breaks down the match from there, but this is still the era where they've got Rick accompanying Charlotte to the ring. At one point, he's going to kiss Becky Lynch, and Meltzer would say that was notable because in the past, when spots like that have been suggested, Vince McMahon was adamantly against them. Do you remember there being some pushback on there being Flair being a kiss-stealing son of a gun?
Well, I don't remember the spot exactly. Was it a situation where it looked like he grabbed Becky and forced the kiss on her?
Well, I mean, he's done it a few times over the years, but it's funny that, it's even in the Observer that maybe he's not for that. But I mean, here they are on TV now and 5 years later, still doing something like that with Lacey. I do like his commentary, though, that Charlotte's better suited as a heel. I've always thought Charlotte was best as a heel. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, let me just put a blanket statement out there. Whoever thought Charlotte had to have Rick ringside to get over, was so short-sighted.
Yeah.
She's never needed Rick to get over. Rick has never needed anybody in his corner to get over when he was performing at his peak. Charlotte is incredible, as are many of the women. But that character is, here it is. She's herself. She does think she's the queen. She is a Flair. She looks at her heritage as putting her at the top of the heap, no matter what. Her quality of work matches her ego. She can go out and back it up, and she has all these things going for her. She does not need Rick as a prop, has never needed him as a prop. And sometimes things would go into a match and get forced in there and wedged in there to just get a reaction. But when you look back at the story, you didn't need it. And anytime you've got Rick ringside, if you're trying to push Charlotte as a heel, Rick's going to get a lot of positive reactions. The wooing cannot be prevented. And you know what that comes across as? Positive reaction. Right. So you're butting heads during the course of a match, trying to get heat on Becky, but everybody in the building's wooing.
Yeah.
Those are mistakes that you gotta talk about. You gotta go, hey guys, they don't need this. Yeah, but when you get a chance to get Ric Flair on the show, it's always a positive. Yeah, it is a positive, but don't put someone else's success, necessarily aligned with having Rick in the corner, because she definitely doesn't need it. Never has.
I totally agree. Let's talk about the finish of the match. Charlotte gets the pin after a spear, and then Sasha Banks comes out, and the crowd explodes. They are really ready for Charlotte versus Banks. But instead, Banks does a tease that she's going to join Charlotte by attacking Becky Lynch and kicking her out of the ring, clearly trying to make herself a heel, but the crowd doesn't care here. They're still with her. And then Banks and Charlotte act like they're friends, and they're both smiling and their arms are together. And of course, Banks then attacks Charlotte from behind, nails the backstabber, puts her in the bank statement. Charlotte's tapping out. It's not a match, but she's showing and proving that, hey, I can take this belt anytime I want. The crowd is hugely behind Sasha, and they're cheering her as she's holding up the belt. Meltzer gave it 3.25 stars. The match was good, but the post-match was great, especially the crowd reaction. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah. And the beauty of it, nobody's a babyface and nobody's a heel until it all shakes out. Sasha did something rotten, but she did it to a heel. And people believed in Sasha, and she had that twist to her character that, she was vicious. Even though she was a babyface, she wasn't like Becky, who the audience loved. She was an ass kicker that the audience loved. And so when it was all said and done, you really didn't know, the only thing you really knew was that these three girls don't like each other, and the competition level just went through the roof.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.